I want to show you a chart. On the left axis, average income. On the bottom axis, happiness. The expected relationship, the one that should be there, would be a rising line. More money, more happiness, climbing together, logical. The line rises for a while. And then somewhere around the equivalent of $70,000 to $80,000 per year, it levels off. The income keeps climbing. The happiness stops following. The two lines diverge. The economy grows upward and to the right, steady and ambitious. The happiness line goes flat and stays there. I've been trying to explain this chart to my colleagues for some time. They find it confusing. So do I, but what makes it more confusing is the next chart. If you look at the countries with the highest average incomes on Earth, the ones at the top of every wealth ranking, and then look at their mental health statistics, the correlation is not what the first chart would suggest. Finland, the happiest country in the world, is also one of the wealthiest in Northern Europe, so it is not a simple story. But the United States, which has the largest economy in human history, ranks 23rd in happiness, behind countries with a fraction of its GDP. The United Kingdom has had a designated government minister for loneliness since 2018. Japan has a documented phenomenon called karoshi, death by overwork, and another called hikikomori, people who withdraw from society entirely. These are the richest, most productive, most technologically advanced societies on Earth. Something in the model is missing. If you have ever achieved something you worked years for and wondered why it felt smaller than expected, subscribe and keep watching. Like this video if the phrase, "I should feel better than this," has ever crossed your mind. And comment, what is something you got that was supposed to fix everything and didn't? The finding that income stops predicting happiness past a certain threshold was first documented by economist Richard Easterlin in 1974. It has been replicated, contested, refined, and replicated again dozens of times over the following 50 years. The current research consensus is nuanced. Emotional well-being does continue to improve with income at higher levels than Easterlin originally suggested. But the fundamental observation holds. The relationship between money and happiness is not linear, and past a point, it weakens significantly. What is more interesting than the finding itself is what happened after the finding. In 1974, a significant piece of evidence emerged suggesting that the organizing principle of most modern economies, grow GDP, measure success in output, optimize for production, was not actually tracking the thing it was supposed to produce. 50 years later, the organizing principle has not changed. The metric and the goal became the same thing, and the actual goal, which was presumably the well-being of the people inside the economy, became a secondary concern, then a tertiary one, then a column that nobody fills in. Why does this happen? Because GDP is easy to measure. Well-being is difficult to measure. When you have a system that needs to be evaluated, a government, a company, an economy, the things that get evaluated are the things that can be counted. And the things that can be counted become the things that matter. And the things that cannot be counted slowly stop mattering in practice, even if they matter enormously in theory. Human well-being, meaningful work, genuine connection, purpose, autonomy, belonging, none of these appear in a balance sheet. GDP counts the medication you buy for your anxiety and the therapy session you attend and the fast food you order because you are too exhausted to cook. All of it is economic output. None of it represents flourishing. There's a specific mechanism that makes wealthy societies particularly vulnerable to this gap. It is called hedonic adaptation, and it is one of the most consistently documented findings in psychology. Humans adapt to improvements in their circumstances with remarkable efficiency. A raise feels good for approximately 3 months. A new apartment feels good for about 6. Even genuinely positive life changes. A marriage, a job promotion, a significant purchase produce elevated happiness for a limited period, after which the baseline reasserts itself. This is not a character flaw. It is an adaptive mechanism. An organism that remained perpetually satisfied with its current conditions would lose the motivational drive to improve them. Hedonic adaptation keeps humans moving. It is the engine of ambition, but it is also the reason that each new level of prosperity does not produce the happiness the previous level seemed to promise. The promotion was supposed to mean less stress. It came with more responsibility. The house was supposed to feel like a rival. It came with a mortgage and maintenance and the immediate awareness that a larger house exists. The finish line is real. You cross it, another finish line appears. This is not a bug in human psychology. It is a feature that was useful in a world of genuine scarcity. In a world of relative abundance, it creates a condition where enough is perpetually slightly ahead of wherever you are. The third piece of this is social comparison. And in wealthy, connected societies, it operates at a scale it was never designed to handle. The human social comparison system evolved to track status within a group of approximately 150 people, the size of a functioning hunter-gatherer tribe. Where do you stand relative to the people around you? Are you falling behind, pulling ahead? The system runs this calculation continuously because, for most of human history, your position in a small group had direct implications for your survival and reproduction. In a wealthy, socially connected modern city, you are not comparing yourself to 150 people. You are comparing yourself to everyone you have ever seen on social media, every colleague whose career you are aware of, every person at your income level whose house you have seen, every highlight reel of every person you have ever known. The comparison system runs on all of it. It was not designed for this volume. It cannot process it healthily. And in rich countries where the volume of comparators is highest and the social media penetration is deepest, the system runs the hottest. The World Happiness Report 2025 found that happiness declined in 58% of countries over the past decade, the same decade in which global connectivity, average income, and material prosperity all reached their historical peaks. This is not a coincidence. It is the predictable output of a system that optimized for the inputs that are easy to measure and left out the ones that are hard. I want to be careful here because there is a version of this argument that ends in a place I do not intend. The argument is not that money does not matter. Below the threshold where basic needs are met, where hunger, housing instability, and medical vulnerability are live concerns, income and well-being track closely. The floor matters enormously. Poverty is genuinely bad for human happiness in ways that are direct and measurable. The argument is about what happens above the floor. Once the floor is stable, the returns on additional income for well-being diminish rapidly, while the returns on things like connection, purpose, autonomy, and belonging remain high. The resources that wealthy societies have generated could theoretically fund extraordinary levels of well-being. The model used to distribute and organize those resources has, in practice, optimized for outputs that do not produce it. The chart I started with does not mean money is bad. It means the map and the destination were confused for each other a long time ago. And a lot of very productive, very hardworking people have spent their lives walking in the direction of the map. and arriving somewhere that looks nothing like where they were going. I am still looking at the data. The chart remains unexplained to my colleagues' satisfaction. They keep asking if I am reading it correctly. I am reading it correctly.